Love this guy. Love this guy. Love everything he does. And the actor, writer, producer is now the host of the Audible original podcast, The History of Sketch Comedy, that he is co-written by he's co-written by his lovely wife Elle, who we've gotten a chance to meet on a couple of occasions at Super Bowls. How about that? Keegan-Michael Key back on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Keegan-Michael Key?
I'm good, sir. How are you doing? Also, don't start with Angel Heart.
Yes.
I heard the Robert De Niro.
By the way,
you just can't start with Angel Heart.
You know what? Again, that's what happened the other day is I've been trying to get my kids to agree to watch the same thing. The War with Grandpa was that film the other day, and it was halfway through it, I realized, I'm like, oh my God, this is my kid's introduction to Robert De Niro. What the hell am I doing here? You know?
Exactly. But yeah, I know a friend of mine who was in Italy once, and he was watching Star Wars, and Star Wars was dubbed. And can you imagine? There's an Italian person dubbing Darth Vader's voice. It's not. Like, I just have to, as a caveat, this is not what his voice is supposed to sound
yes.
like. You know?
Yes. The Italian James Earl Jones is not what we're I don't know if
look, I'm not your father.
Well, one of the reasons why we got on this subject is my kids dig brain games, Keegan. They
like brain games.
Oh my gosh, do they love it? They can't get enough of it. So
that's great.
Thank you.
Another Key produced television show. There you go.
That I did not know, and it's just it's such a relief that we can all agree on watching something that my wife and I also enjoy too. You know, that is amazing. It really is.
That's great.
So
I'm glad that we could provide that service for you.
Thank you.
Know what I mean? That is tough. That's a tough thing because otherwise you're sitting in the back rolling your eyes and the kids are having the time of their lives, but you're like, come on, there must be some something equitable that we can do here, right?
Exactly. So let's get in. Let's talk a little bit of the football, if you don't mind, to start things off. Because when I did meet your wife, when I did meet Elle, if I'm not mistaken, she loves Eli Manning, right? Is she a big Eli Manning fan? Is that correct, or am I ish? Not really.
Let's put it this way: she's a Giants fan.
Okay.
She's a Giants fan.
So then, how does she enjoy the Tom Brady-ishness of everything happening right now?
She's not very happy. She's not very happy with the Tom Brady-ishness of the landscape right now. She's a big Mahomes fan. She's like Mahomes. And I mean, it's interesting because with us, we're big fans of Gronk. We love Gronk, and we work with Gronk, and he's great. But it's Tom Brady is not her. She's not a big fan that Tom Brady is in the NFC right now. Yes, she's also a big, huge Drew Brees fan. So Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes are two people that she enjoys watching very much. We'll see how that turns out ultimately as we come into the next football season, right? She may be watching Drew from a broadcasting box, but we'll see. Yeah, Tom Brady, no love lost there between El Key and Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's settling family business again, Tom Brady. Just when you thought that he would no longer have much family business, he's settling it again. I mean, it's and guys he's never beaten before, and Breeze and Rodgers, and now here comes Mahomes, who he has the last time Mahomes did not make the Super Bowls because Brady was standing in his way. I mean, it's just unbelievable what this guy is doing. Right now.
Really is. I mean, listen. Here's the thing. Of course, everyone's saying this, like him or not. He's done. As I like to put it, he's LeBron'd it. Right. I mean, LeBron. You forget the guy's been to 10 Super Bowls. Rich. No one's been to 10 Super Bowls, let alone with two different teams. So I have to give him his props. There's no way around that. It's really incredible. And now I, unlike some people in our household, I have a little bit of love for Tom Brady because he's a Michigan man. So I can't go against that. Growing up in a maize and blue neighborhood and having grown up with one of my best friends from childhood's brother being a trainer for Bo Schembechler, I have to have a little bit of love for the old number 9. You know what I mean? So, or number 10. I'm sorry, the old number 10.
Yes.
So there's nothing. There's a little bit of love there for me, and let alone the accomplishment itself.
So I have to ask here, Keegan-Michael Key here on the Rich Eisen Show. When you say trainer for Bo Schembechler, for his team, or was he literally making Bo do jumping jacks to keep him in shape? Like,
no. He was for the Wolverines. I'm sorry. That's right. I appreciate the clarity, Rich. Yes. He was a trainer on the team for the team, right? Yeah.
And I chose jumping jack specifically because that seems like more of a Bo era type of exercise, rather than a burpee
with the high knee socks and the short shorts, and
a medicine ball with a medicine ball.
the medicine ball, old-fashioned rusty kettlebells, and giant ropes that we don't even know what they did with in the gymnasium, no less.
Bo's wearing.
Boys, we're going to the gymnasium.
He's wearing a onesie that we saw like from the World's Strongest Men shows on ESPN2 at 4 a.m.
He's got a singlet on, from ESPN2, 240 from Athens, Greece. Strongest.
Like chalk on his hands.
resin all over his shoulders. Yeah.
That's what I thought. You're like, he's a trainer for Bo. I'm like, okay, I got to pull on that string a little bit here.
Exactly. Of course you did.
Keegan-Michael Key here on the Rich Eisen Show. I feel like we're coming up with one of the sketches that you're talking about on your new pod here, the history of sketch comedy. What attracted you and your wife to this subject matter?
Well, way back when we were starting to find a way to work with each other, before any of the romance blossomed, we were working together. I was a very accomplished, very brilliant writer and director and producer, and we started trying to figure out a project that we could do together. And when we had this meeting, I just want to make sure, so people need to know that my wife is a good, dyed-in-the-wool, Bronx-born New York Jew, and she has an encyclopedic knowledge of Jewish jokes. And during that first meeting, we talked. She told me a bunch of jokes, and I was laughing uproariously, Rich. And she kind of looked at me sideways, and she's like, "Boy, you are really finding these jokes funny." I said, "Hey, I've never heard these jokes. I'm a black kid, a black Catholic kid from Detroit. I don't know these jokes. Lay some more on me." And then as the conversation went on, we found ourselves analyzing the jokes, breaking them down, talking about what makes them funny, and realized that we have a very similar sense of humor. And years later, you cut to quarantine, and she had this idea. And she said, "What, you know more about sketch comedy than anybody I know. What if we did some kind of a book or a podcast or something about the history of sketch comedy?" And we pitched it to Audible. And I remember in the pitch, this is last year. This is, was March of last year. And her pitch was, if Keegan-Michael Key was guest lecturing at NYU and was going to do a 10-week series on the history of sketch comedy, I think it would be a very popular class. I think he'd get a lot of apples at the end of the day. And that was the hook, and they bought it. And so then we started working on it. And she put it together, she created it, and she kind of put the format together, and then just gave me an opportunity to shine. And now we're in a position where we get to share it with all these other people out there in the world.
How far back do you go? Like, what do you go?
We go way back. I think it's fun. I think a lot of people think we were going to start at SNL or something. We go back to ancient Sumeria. Rick. We go to 1900 BC Sumeria, where literally the first 1900 BC Sumeria is literally the first recorded joke.
Okay, what do you mean it's the first? Like, what was it? Hold on a second. Why does I don't even know why does a pterodactyl cross the road? I mean,
there's something about the oxen, right? Yeah, it literally, it's actually a fart joke. It is a fart joke. It's something about a young bride sitting on her husband's lap and farting, and how that is untoward or something. Listen, it's lost in the context, I'm sure.
You're gonna be like, wait for it. Is that a way Homer? Is that you get it on the way home?
It's a 3,000-year way Homer. On the way back in your chariot, you're gonna get, oh yeah, she was on his lap. So literally, I think it's so funny because in the series we even talk about it, we go, hey, isn't that funny? The people who came to us with the wheel and written language also came up with the fart joke.
What does that say about the human race that the first joke was a fart joke? I guess it just stands the test of time.
It
you know?
stands the test of time. It's just never not funny. So we literally start. I mean, there's a whole half a chapter about cavemen and our suppositions about what we think cavemen found funny and how they communicated that to each other. And we go all the way from we literally go from Neanderthals to Trump jokes on SNL. And so it's the whole gamut. We run the gamut of history. Yeah. So Sumerians, Greeks, medieval times, the 15th century, then the advent of vaudeville. We do the whole thing.
Sure. Keegan-Michael Key here, along with his wife Elle, the Audible original podcast, The History of Sketch Comedy. I could talk about this all day. So, what would be the advent on television? Your show of shows? Would that be the first version of this?
We do. We dive into your show of shows and Milton Berle, and there's really fun, interesting factoids that we found in the research. Like Milton Berle, the people found out that when the Milton Berle show, when the Texaco Star Hour, when he was hosting that show, they were rotating hosts, and then eventually it just became Milty, Uncle Milty. And what would happen is, right after the show was over, you could see across the country that there'd be a huge deluge of water usage because everybody got up from their sets and went to the bathroom because they didn't want to miss a minute of Milton Berle's show. Rich, when Milton Berle, I'm getting the numbers wrong, but it was crazy. Like there was something like 75,000 television sets, 75,000 television sets in America. And then within 2 years, when Milton Berle was on TV, it was 750,000 television sets. Like, whoa. I can't even fathom it. That's just that's star power. And so we really delve into that, into him, Martin and Lewis, Colgate Comedy Hour, Jackie Gleason, Bob Hope. So we do everything.
And then Cal Burnett show, obviously, that's got to be included in that. And SNL.
Yeah, Carol Burnett show. Then we move into the variety era, that horrible, awful, garish variety area with Donnie and Marie. And remember,
hey,
Rip Taylor, hello. All that jazz with the confetti.
Rip Taylor, fantastic with his bucket of confetti. Oh my God, that is a name I have not heard in forever.
Right? You haven't heard. I mean, Waylon Flowers and Madam.
Madam, of course. Well, I mean, I was.
Remember that?
Well, when you would select them for the block on Hollywood Squares is a big moment for me as a child watching television.
Yeah, me as well. And Paul Lynde. and when Paul Lynde would say, I love it, Paul Lynde would just be laughing through the entire thing.
Yes, because you could say, a lot of those game shows in the Hollywood Squares and Match Game, that was some scripted comedy as well. I mean, we could really go deep into this whole thing. And I love this. What a brilliant idea. What a brilliant idea. Would you say, by the way, first of all, very thankful that was the research on Milton Berle that you mentioned.
Wow.
Secondly,
oh man! Now that just shows how much you are a comedy maven.
Okay,
right?
thank you, sir. I'm showing off my bona fides here. I'm flexing my comedy muscles. All right. Secondly,
don't flex anything else.
Hey, now, would you say that the sketch comedy is funnier when the actor or actress breaks and laughs in the middle of it? What do you think?
It is. Right? It is funnier. It's a little bit of a cheat, but it's always funnier because here's the thing about comedy. Comedy is about social mores, right? Like, when we see a nice, beautiful form tackle and the legs get taken out, the guy goes down, and you're like, "What? Well done. Good tackle." And then when you see someone fly through the air and just shiver a dude in the neck, like Dick Night Train Lane from the 50s, and you're going, "Whoa! Well, that's illegal." And the like Benny Blade back in the old days with my Detroit Lions. Nice. The late hit. And so what happens is the equivalent to that in sketch comedy is that you especially in SNL, it's so titillating because it's live. And they're trying to navigate this entire evening. And so part of you is going, are they going to mess up? It's a lot like the circus, right? Like the trapeze artist. Mm. What makes us laugh, it gets funnier because the stakes are so high. And then people just go, forget it, and they start giggling. Or they can't help themselves from giggling. It's infectious. It makes us laugh more because our expectation is they're going to make it all the way through the sketch, right? Like Carol Burnett. There's some extremely funny Carol Burnett sketches.
Oh, yeah.
That you just laugh because the writing's terrific. But when you see Harvey Korman start to grin, there's really nothing better.
No, I know. Anyone
Yeah.
needs to look up the dentist sketch with Tim Conway and him from that. Even the famed cowbell sketch with Christopher Walken on Saturday Night Live when I think is it Fallon breaks during it at one point. I mean, I love that. And I know that that's technically not what you're supposed to do, but I love it. I just love it.
It is funnier. I mean, then the opposite, of course, is the sweaty balls sketch with Janet Gasteyer and Molly Shannon and Alec Baldwin.
Where they don't break.
Where you can't believe they don't break. You're like, how are they doing this? How are they? They're superhuman comedians. How are they doing this? It's like, it's too good. It's too good.
Like I said, I could talk about this all day, but I appreciate the call. Keegan, I do miss chatting with you, and look, I can't wait to. I'm assuming you might not be going to the Super Bowl this year. I know you go every year. UNL have been going quite a bit. Next year here in Los Angeles. I know we don't take it for granted. We don't take it, but this time around, we definitely won't take it for granted when I see you next at a game.
That's right.
Big time,
That's
man.
absolutely right. I look forward to seeing you, Rich, and thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, gosh,
and
always.
Elle thanks you, and she says hello.
Please send my best.
Yeah,
I know.
Always.
Look, I'm a Jew born in Brooklyn, raised in Staten Island. Your wife had me at hello when we first met at the Super Bowl. Talking sports and whatever. It was phenomenal, just great. So
you're going to love this series, Rich. You're going to love this series.
It's great. I can't get enough of it. And again, it's on Audible, the Audible original podcast, The History of Sketch Comedy. Take care of yourself, Keegan-Michael Key. Thanks for the call. Anytime.
You too, buddy.
Right
Talk
back at you. There we go.
Right.
At Keegan M. Key on Twitter, at Keegan-Michael Key on Instagram. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.